The diner remained where it always had, its neon sign buzzing like an insect in a jar, its windows darkened against the endless void of the highway. Caleb Mercer had been watcher for 62 nights. The diner accepted him now. He was stitched into its bones. But the rules were changing. The notebook grew heavier with each page he turned, rules appearing that he didn't remember writing. New customers arrived with faces half-remembered from dreams, and the road outside twisted further from reality. Something was waking beneath the floorboards. Something older than bones. Chapter 1. The Drifter. Her name was Mira. She came with the storm, drenched, limping, eyes haunted. Her coat was torn at the sleeve, and her left boot was soaked in blood. "I need a job," she said. Caleb watched the wind tug at her hair like invisible fingers. The diner had called her. He recognized the look he'd worn it himself months ago. He handed her the notebook. "Read the rules. If you break any of them, you die." Mira didn't flinch. She sat in a booth and began reading. By midnight, she was behind the counter, apron tied, eyes sharp. The diner had accepted her. Chapter 2. Old Blood. Beneath the pantry trapdoor, something had begun to pulse. Caleb could hear it now, even when he stood at the register or cleaned the back booths, a rhythmic thudding like a massive heart buried in salt and ash. He asked the diner questions. Sometimes it answered. A mirror fogged, a coffee pot boiled dry, a page appeared in the rule book. Rule 41. If the blood begins to rise through the cracks, do not mop it. Feed it. Caleb didn't know what that meant. Not yet. Chapter 3. Shifts in the walls. The veiled woman returned, but this time her veil was gone. In its place was a mirror where her face should be. Mira stared too long and bled from her nose. "You can't watch them," Caleb warned, pressing ice to her neck. "You let them be seen and they'll become you." The woman left behind a single red shoe. Mira burned it in the sink. The smoke formed symbols neither of them understood. That night, Rule 42 etched itself into the ceiling tiles. Do not allow their items to remain past sunrise. Chapter 4. The Hollow Road. Mira asked about Rosie. "She went into the woods," Caleb said. "The diner chooses when it's done with you." But Mira was more persistent than he expected. She walked the edge of the tree line every dawn. Once, she found cigarette ash arranged in a spiral. Caleb warned her. "If you look for the dead, the diner will think you miss them." She asked, "What happens then?" Caleb didn't answer. He hadn't figured that part out yet. Chapter 5. Origins Unfolding. One night, a man with an obsidian tongue ordered a plate of gravel and glass. Caleb served it without comment. The man whispered, "It was never a diner, it was a shrine." Later, Mira discovered a hidden wall behind the freezer, a mural drawn in blood and grease. It showed the land before roads, before diners, before memory. Figures knelt in a circle. One figure stood in the middle, head replaced by a sun. They were feeding it. Chapter 6. A Rule Rewritten. At 3:33 a.m., Mira heard her brother's voice. He died 2 years ago. He stood outside the diner, soaked in moonlight, grinning. She almost opened the door. Almost. But Rule 3 still stood. Do not speak, no matter who they appear to be. Caleb watched her hand hover over the handle. "He's not real. The diner is remembering your grief. It's hungry." She stepped away. The figure vanished like smoke. The next morning, Rule 3 had changed. Do not speak from 3:23 to 3:47. The memory has grown bolder. Chapter 7. The Flooded Cellar. The trapdoor beneath the pantry pulsed again. One night, it wept. Black water spilled from its edges. Caleb and Mira watched in horror as something floated up, a severed hand holding a key. The key fit into the staff locker, long rusted shut. Inside was a uniform and name tag, Sam. A photo was pinned to the locker wall. Caleb recognized the man. "That's Marvin!" But the photo was dated 1938. Chapter 8. The Feast. On the 69th night, the diner filled with more customers than ever before. A man whose shadow moved independently. A woman who whispered to her food before eating. A preacher with hollow eyes who blessed each napkin. Mira served. Caleb watched. They didn't eat. They performed. One customer left a gift, a box wrapped in human skin. Inside was a small figurine of Caleb, carved from bone, screaming. Rule 49 appeared that night. If they give you gifts, bury them beneath the oak at mile marker 237. Chapter 9. The book expands. The rule book was growing, physically. New pages unfurled themselves. Mira began having dreams of the diner, but it was different, older, without walls, without floors. Caleb began to suspect the diner was a fracture point, something ancient breaking through a weakened world. He spoke to the mirror again. This time the fog spelled a word: convergence. Chapter 10. The Buried Ones. Mira returned from the woods with a bone flute. "I followed the ash spiral," she said. "I heard Rosie. She's in the ground, Caleb, but she's still talking." They played the flute after midnight. The walls peeled back. The ground opened. From the pantry floor, shapes crawled up, not alive, not dead. Former employees, previous watchers. Each one whispered a rule. Some were warnings. Some were lies. Mira began cataloging them in a second book. Chapter 11. The False Dawn. On the 80th night, the sun rose. It shouldn't have. Light poured through the windows. Birds chirped. A police cruiser pulled up. A man in uniform walked in and smiled. "Been looking for you, Caleb. You're safe now." Mira backed away. Caleb stepped forward. "What day is it?" "July 12th, 2025. You've been missing for months." Caleb looked into the officer's eyes. They were empty. Rule 56 scratched itself into the napkin dispenser. If the sun rises and you didn't feel it coming, it's not your sun. They turned off the lights. The illusion dissolved. The officer's mouth stretched too wide and fell apart. Chapter 12. The True Shrine. The mural behind the freezer changed. The figure in the center now held a book in each hand, one leather, one bone. The diner was not a shrine to the dead. It was a shrine to memory, to rules, to the idea of order holding back chaos. Every watcher added rules. Every mistake became a warning. Mira finally asked, "How does it end?" Caleb answered, "When there's nothing left to remember." Chapter 13. The Offering. On the 100th night, the trap door burst open. Hands reached up, not to grab, but to give. They offered Caleb a third book, charred black, its pages blank. Mira took it. The walls screamed. Rule 61 etched itself in Caleb's skin. Only one watcher at a time. Epilogue. The neon keeps buzzing. Now, Mira stands behind the counter. She offers the new hires a book. She points to the booths. She smiles when they flinch at the jukebox. The road outside twists further. Memory folds in on itself. Caleb is gone, or buried, or part of the rules. The diner lives on. It always will.